You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studio for a full 2 hours from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm your host, Angela Smarito, and in studio with me we have our producer, Melissa Fox.
Hey, everybody.
She's wearing her BaaD Radio shirt today, which just makes me very, very happy.
Yeah, fits well. Thank you.
No problem. It looks great.
We're a BaaD tribe.
I know. We are the BaaD tribe. The BaaD ladies. It does sound funny.
Yeah,
though, right?
BaaD ladies.
A little bit, yeah.
Up next, we have Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Hello, hello.
She is our co-host and our videographer. I wouldn't listen to the previous show, and I did say radiographer.
Close enough.
I'm like, I don't know what a radiographer is, but you know what? Just roll with it.
We're going with it, guys.
If you go to baadradio.com, you can watch the previous episodes of BaaD Radio that Melissa's been doing through. They're YouTube videos, and you can check them out for all last year, and they're just so well put together. So you can see, and you can find those on baadradio.com, but you also can see the rest of Melissa's work. She's a photographer and a videographer on strikingbrand.com. I'm very excited to introduce a wonderful lady that I just met last week. Please join me in welcoming Allison Conley.
Hi.
There she
Thank
is.
you for having me here.
Is this your first time on the show?
Yes.
Yes, my
it is.
first time, yes.
Yeah, actually, we just met last week.
Got it.
So, but Allison is a board-certified family nurse practitioner with Strive Wellness, and we're going to talk a lot about what all of that is. But first, this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Frogger's Bar and Grill. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. With 4 great locations, there's bound to be one near you. Come with friends or bring the family for some food and fun. And don't miss out on a Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's hopping with food and fun. Okay, so next up we have the networking news. We're gonna let Melissa do her live, and then do we have our caller on? No, hang on. So go ahead.
Okay, we're going to go ahead. I'll talk slowly. Like this is when I'm ordering at a restaurant. I get everybody to go real slow so I can figure out what I want. The networking news this time is brought to you by Live Your Best Life. It's an advocate for Green Compass USDA certified organic hemp products. They offer a complete range of products, including hemp wellness, targeted health, and personal care, performance, even products for our furry friends. To get more information on these products or becoming a consultant, call Terry at 407-616-3145.
So Melissa, just let me verify. The number to call in is 407-916-5400, right? All right. He's saying that he tried, but
Try again.
and the number did not work. So I'm going to introduce him anyway, and hopefully he can get through.
Won't that be fun?
This gentleman that's calling in right now, his name is Rob Dawson, and he is the owner of 360 Your Business. So what do you think of when you think of 360?
Complete circle all the way around.
All right, perfect. That's exactly what the premise of it was. And so what his business is, he does social media marketing, but he also does the 360 videos of places.
Oh, okay, I got you.
So if you are like, today he showed me a video of like a Porsche dealership, where he went and, he did the 360 view of the Porsche dealership, but then he did the 360 view of inside the car. So
nice.
like when you go to websites and you have that option of looking at things and seeing the whole thing, he also showed a restaurant, which I thought was amazing because he's like, don't you want to go here? Don't you? And I was like, yeah, actually, I really do, because of the way that he films it and does that whole surrounding
so you can
thing.
see like the whole ambiance and what everything is like around it. Yeah, they do that a lot for real estate too.
Yeah, you do real estate,
yes.
some photography, but do you do that?
I don't do that 360 thing. A lot of the times, people ask for those like home tours where you like click, kind of like Google Maps, where it has the arrow and you just like click through it. I don't really do that either. I prefer doing video because then as a user, like I don't want to keep clicking like arrow, and then you're like back. Like I want to go this other road. That's so irritating to me. So if I get a good like video to where you can just click one time and it's like plays out with music and text, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's a way better experience. But
No, I totally agree
Yeah.
with that too. I mean, I think that being able to see things in like a whole different, well, let's just put it this way. Back in the day, you had to actually go visit a place.
Right.
But I meant now with the way with things like this or the videos and
Right.
everything like that, you can like buy a house
without even being there,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
You can like I would never buy a car without driving it first.
Right.
But you still can. It happens
Right.
all the time, right?
Right. I definitely would take it to like a dealership or like a Jiffy Lube or something first and be like,
Even if it's a
Can you-
brand new car?
yeah, well, not a brand new. I'm more of a Craigslist like used car type person. So I'm like, somebody else test it out because people will like set stuff up and like hide things where you have to take it somewhere.
Yeah.
So that they are like, can you please check this out? Because I'm trying not to get swindled right now.
Definitely. I mean, we've bought a couple used cars, but we bought them from like dealerships. Or I
Right.
think we did buy one from CarMax. It was Tom's. It was a 1999 Ford F-150.
Okay.
But this was also a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it only had like 18,000 miles on it. So it was like a really nice truck with low miles, but it was older.
Right.
But I mean, he drove that sucker till it was like 350,000 miles, and it was still running
Right.
when we sold it. And he got a big chunk of money from it.
Yeah.
I mean, we bought it from CarMax and we sold it back to CarMax.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
I
and-
have a daughter that's about to be driving, so
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like the first car something's gonna happen.
Anna
Gonna be
totaled
banged
her
up.
first car.
Yeah, so
It's
I'm
gone.
like, girl, I'm going to Craigslist. I'm not going to a dealership for you. I'm gonna find something solid. Let me find like a Toyota Corolla or something
you go.
like that.
Yeah, that car didn't even make it a year.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I know something's gonna happen. So
But the reason I wanted to have Rob call in today, but I guess he's just not able to get through, was he did a presentation today in our BNI group, and he was talking about the ever-changing field of social media marketing.
mhm.
And one of the things that I asked is, and this is something that one of our friends, Emily, told me about, Emily Murphy, is that she said that when you are on Facebook and you share something like from YouTube, but if you put that link in the actual
Like
part-
the comments.
not in the comments, but in the actual part
Oh, like the post?
of the post,
Okay.
if it's a YouTube, then Facebook presses it down.
Okay, because it's not supporting their platform. It's like
Because what
driving
it's
you to
doing,
another
it's
platform.
taking them to another platform.
Right.
And so Emily's like, just always put the YouTube post in the comments.
Mhm.
Have I seen a huge amount of difference of like how many people, comment on it or like it? Nah, not really.
Mhm.
But he said absolutely that does
That's the
happen.
true thing.
That's
Yeah.
the true thing. He also said, I was asking, he goes, but Facebook and Instagram got the same owners now.
Mhm, right.
So they don't. They won't repress it, because if they're on Facebook and you have an Instagram link, you go on
Right.
Instagram, it's still their property.
So I'm betting like reels and things like that you can put like on Facebook, on Instagram, that's not directing them to a different site's probably going to be more effective than if you're trying to like get more viewers on those platforms.
Well, that's exactly what he said today.
Yeah.
And he said that reels
Mhm.
are going to be becoming more and more prevalent in social media marketing,
Mhm.
because and he said not so much stories. Like, I'll do stories once
Right.
a week.
right.
But he's saying that reels are kind of where it's at with
Right.
how things are growing with social media marketing, and that they are going to, you do a reel, you're connecting in both,
Mhm.
which I love, because I do Facebook all the time and I forget about Instagram.
Right. Yeah. I like that you can post them both like at the
Mhm.
same time. But on the reels, like especially for businesses, I think it's really important to not be focused so much on like salesy type reels, because I got to tell you, as soon as when I'm scrolling through them,
Mhm.
as soon as it starts feeling like businessy or salesy, I don't care what it is.
You go.
It's that same thing. Like nobody ever likes being sold to. So
Mhm.
even if it's a video with
Right.
fun music, I'm like, I still don't
Oh,
give
you
me
mean
a
you
bunch
don't
of
you don't
text.
stop and watch those
No.
ones where it's like you take a pill and they show like
Yeah.
a woman shrink her
Oh,
up,
yeah.
and they show like a little ball that's got like this foam in it that looks like fat, and they put this stuff on it and it sizzles the fat away.
Yeah,
You don't
no.
buy that?
No, we do this next.
So you're more about the education then.
Yeah, education or just something like real, fun.
Yeah.
Fun.
You know.
Well, that is our networking news, and maybe we'll get Rob to call in next week.
Yes.
So
We're
anyway,
waiting for you, Rob.
we're going to break right now, and when we get back, we're going to talk with Allison Conley and with Strive Wellness. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And we are back. This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore. Spring is in the air, so now is the time to head to Premier Couple Superstore with a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. Premier Couple Superstore has got what you want, so you don't pay those high prices because you're going directly to the source. And be sure to join their loyalty program for special offers. 5009 South OPT or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together. I love those live reads.
Yes.
I love them. All right. So do you know, Allison, have you ever heard of Premier Couple Superstore?
Never heard of them.
Okay. It's an adult store, and it's over on OBT, and like
That one.
mm-hmm. And you can go there, and they have a whole section just full of like the cutest lingerie, and I mean, you can get like stripper shoes, and you can get some really spicy stuff too.
That's right.
So, my husband and I've been there before. You know what
They
I'm
frequent.
So Allison, Allison was texting me. She's like, "Okay, what are we going to talk about?" And I was like, "You know what? I just kind of make it up as I go." But I'm like, the premise of it is going to be we want the listening audience to know you, to like you, and to trust you, because then they're going to come see you. And that's really what we do here is to get people to know you. And I mean, I'm still in the stage of getting to know you too. So first and foremost, let's talk about a little bit how we met. Okay. So I met Allison through a referral from one of our sponsors, which is 33 Tanning and Micro Spa. So you have a location there. So you want to explain to us how that works?
At the spa?
At the spa,
Oh,
yes.
nice.
So I sublease one of the rooms from Erin, and that's
We
where
love Erin. She's fabulous.
She is awesome. Erin is fabulous. So that's how I do my services.
Yeah.
Offer my services through there.
And it's the one that's in Longwood.
In
not the
Longwood,
one-
Okay.
yes.
That's the
So-
one that we went to?
No, we went to the Altamont Springs.
Okay,
one.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So what she did is, because remember how I told you last week that I needed to go to the Botox doctor?
Yes.
Because
Did you take her up on
she
that?
was my Botox doctor.
Gotcha.
Yes, she came and I doctored her face for her.
Well, I was watching old videos, and I was like, my forehead is not looking good, because it's like when I scrunch it up and I have these 11s here that make me look like I'm scowling. So that's why I was like, I need help. I'm going. So anyway, so that's how I met Allison. But Allison is you're a nurse practitioner, right?
I am a nurse practitioner. I've been in the medical field for almost 15 years now.
So where are you from?
Oh,
Because I
am-
love your voice. It's
Oh,
just,
thank
you got
you.
that sexy accent.
Thank you. I'm from Jamaica.
Nice.
I relocated to the United States back in 2005 or
Okay.
4. I don't remember.
Were you a doctor in Jamaica?
No.
too? Okay.
No. I relocated to California, and then I made my way over here to Florida, and where I studied nursing. And I worked as a bedside nurse for roughly 8 years, got burnt out. And I also wanted to offer more to my patients that I was limited to at the time as a bedside nurse.
What is a bedside nurse? What is that? I mean,
So-
do you work at a hospital?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Though if you're sick, you go to the hospital, you get admitted. You have a nurse who tends to your care while
They
you're
come check your vitals,
check
make
your
sure check your bright stuff on your little chart.
provide you with your medications, provide you
Those
with
little cups
updates.
of pills.
There you go.
Been there.
Help to bathe you if you need any form of, assistance. So I did that for roughly 8 years, and I got burnt out, and I wanted to do something different. I was not. My satisfaction was I wasn't getting the satisfaction that I was looking for in nursing.
Was it burned out? Like, I know nursing hours are what everybody talks
It's
about.
like
hours
4
are
days on,
insane.
3 days off, or something like that.
So it's 3 days on, 4 days off. But it's more than just that. You're mentally and physically exhausted at after each of 12-hour shifts. So I decided that I want to offer more to my patients. So I had this grand idea. Let me go back to nurse practitioner school, because yes, I can prescribe. I can now educate my patient. I can offer them more as a nurse practitioner.
Oh, yeah.
Than a regular nurse. And so,
What's the difference between nurse practitioner and a regular nurse?
so the difference is that you go, the RN, the registered nurse, goes back to school for an additional 3 years for advanced education training to learn to diagnose, treat,
She can write scripts and
prescribe.
nurses can't.
Right.
Okay.
So
But you're like, you have doctor, then you have nurse practitioner, then you have nurse.
Okay.
And I
There you
don't
go.
mean that like on their importance scale. I'm talking
Just like
about like,
responsibility level
Yeah.
or like what they can
I would
do.
suspect the level of insurance you have to carry too. constantly.
right.
That makes sense.
Right, definitely. So, I went back, graduated in 2017, and started working as a nurse practitioner in 2018 in the community center, and that eventually taught me that I was not prepared for this side of the world. So, with all that being said, it's a rewarding job, but it can be very toxic on you. And I was not getting that family life balance that I, hope, to attain. And so,
Well, you mentioned that you had 3 kids. Is that right?
well, 2.
2. But okay, so
Oh.
you're a mom.
I'm a mom of 2. So I have 2 little kids, a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Okay.
Okay.
And they're highly energetic and rambunctious. And I am married as well to my husband of now going 12 years.
Right.
So, we lead a very busy life.
So you have to have a family life too.
Family life. So very early on, I realized that being in this industry, the health field is not very balanced for my family life. And that's when I decided I want to take.
You went back to become a nurse practitioner. And then from there, did you go work for somebody?
Yes, I work in the community health.
Okay.
Yes, I worked in the community health for 3.5 years.
And you said you didn't feel like you were prepared for that, for this side. What do you mean by that?
So in the community health, you're working with people who are underserved, underserved communities.
Got it.
And those who have no insurance.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
you have limited resources, pretty much.
Okay.
And patients who are sometimes not very compliant, and you have to.
She's saying it so nicely.
Yeah, you have to be that provider to help to bring them back on course, and that can be overwhelming if you're doing all you can and
your hands are tied, essentially.
Essentially, and
Yeah.
they don't want to do what you're recommending, and then you have the big boss saying, "Hey, you need to do this," and the patient is like, "No, I'm not going to do that," and you're in the middle, you're like, "What do I do?" You know, so you're like, yeah.
Right.
So I was not prepared for that, because I will tell you this, why I went in community clinic, start out there, back home in Jamaica, growing up, that's where I got my service. And so I was like, it was a beautiful thing. And I thought, well, yes, I want to go back. I want to give to the community. I want to help. I really, really want to help. And so I was.
You have a big heart. I can tell you have to if you're a nurse or a
Yes,
teacher. I feel
definitely.
like. But then it just seems like it was just overwhelming. Once you get into it.
Overwhelming to say the least. And then all the stipulations from the insurance companies and you name it. It's not what I thought it would be.
So you have to get more into like paperwork and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's not why you got into nursing.
No, I want to treat the patient. I
Right.
want to help to make them feel better, feel whole again. But yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the way a lot of doctors' offices these days are not run by the doctors; they're run by the insurance company.
That is so true.
And it's like you have 12.5 minutes with each patient, and you have to get them in, get them diagnosed, figure out what's wrong with them, and get them out the door so that you can see them. I mean, they have a quota of how many patients they have to see a day. Where I mean, if you go to a holistic doctor or something like that, you actually they'll sit. I mean, you pay. Trust me, because that stuff is expensive. But they'll sit down with you for an hour.
Quality time, yes.
Yeah, and they'll sit down with you for time and try to get to the cause of what's going on, and then just saying, okay, I'm at 9 minutes. Let's write you a pill that's for this.
Right.
It might not be the problem, but hey, let's do that anyway because I'm on a quota. So, all right. So we're going to continue this conversation because, like I said, we're talking about the story of Allison right now. And so stay tuned, and we will be right back after this break.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Hello, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Impact Electric of Orlando, who focuses on residential and commercial electrical work. When talking about the quality of work, Impact Electric is one of the best. We use Impact Electric of Orlando for all of our electrical needs, and I would recommend them to anyone. You can reach Zach and his team at 407-747-0874. All right, so before break, we said we're going to go back on the Allison story. So I want to reintroduce Allison. Allison is Allison Conley, and she currently is the owner of Strive Wellness, and you can find her in the 33 Micro Spa location in Longwood. So before your portion's over, we're going to talk about all your contact information. So where did we leave off? We left off with the community service.
She was overwhelmed, at the community. So you wanted to help more people, and you weren't getting that satisfaction.
Wasn't getting that satisfaction. Right. And so I went to work with another company, lasted roughly 15 or so months. And then while I was working there, I realized during COVID, the tail end of COVID, well, right around in the middle of COVID, I started to think, I need to do something. I've always had a business mindset, and I started brainstorming back in 2021. I started brainstorming what I could possibly do, what business venture I could open.
Did COVID kind of make you start considering? That's like everybody. Same here.
Most definitely, because I felt as though choices, limitations, all that was, played a big factor in me deciding to get out on the limb and try to do something for myself, so that my future is not dictated by somebody else.
I love that.
My income, my well-being is not dictated by a corporation.
Right.
And I also wanted to, during that time, I started thinking about my kids and what legacy I wanted to leave for them.
Right.
And during 2021, the latter part of 2021, I started writing down some business ideas, and I know I wanted to go into the wellness industry. I've always had, a healthy living, wellness mindset. And I didn't take the leap of faith because I was always putting up these roadblocks in the way. I can't do that.
What I got to worry about my insurance. I got to worry about
the mortgage, or worry about the car payment, or worry about the kids, and
it's scary.
The
thought of branching out and not and leaving the safety net of collecting a paycheck is frightening.
It is debilitating, and 2021 into 2022 at this new company, they started to do some shifting because they're brand new in the Orlando market. And it was so good to be true. You get all these good perks with the company and stuff. And I was like, not sure,
Yeah.
I started to think because the red flag,
there,
the red flag started going up, and I'm like, I'm not sure how long this is going to last. And August of last year, or actually I met up with Erin the early portion of last year with her, and I said, hey, I would like to.
How did you meet Erin?
So I was looking, I think it was on a Facebook group, or
it was probably from one of your posts.
No, actually I was just walking over there in the Altamont Springs location, trying to look at these salons or spots to see if they have anything for rent. And either there or the Longwood, and I just happened to stop by the
she was there?
Micro Spa. She wasn't there, and they were like, actually, it's a funny thing you stopped by and asking for a space to rent. We just put up a room for rent.
Very nice.
One of her spa room for rent. I'm like, are you kidding me?
One of those meant to be.
One of those meant to be. And I said, okay, let me have her information. I reached out to her, and we chit-chatted back and forth. I loved her energy. Her vibe was, we connected right away. And I was supposed to start probably around sometime, I don't remember. And my husband was in the transition of moving to Atlanta, and that fell through. And I had to pull back from renting a spot from 33 Micro Spa and say, hey, sorry, I'm going to move to Atlanta. He got the job, but things fell apart. Now, fast forward, I was so embarrassed, but I reached back out to her and she said, sure, it's yours. You can have it. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So that's how all of this came about with the new company that I started working for, the red flags that I was getting. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to have to take the leap of faith. So I went out on the limb and using my income to supplement the business.
It takes a lot of courage to do what you did. And Melissa did the very same thing where she was working for a corporate business, right?
Right. Yeah, I was working for a publishing company and I did newsletter layouts and design and had been there for almost a decade, and we had a change of management basically, and it just started going downhill with the new manager. And I was like, I'm putting so much of my energy into this, and a lot like what you're saying, you don't want to be dependent on somebody else. So I totally understand that. So when you started this, did you have you saved up a bunch to be able to put this into your new business?
So I had a little extra savings apart from my emergency fund for the household. I had enough savings that I was able to pull to buy equipments and stuff like that. So and pay the rent and the deposit, and that helped me through.
And how long have you been there now?
It's going to be 1 year in August.
1 year. I love that.
August, yes.
And what all do you? You do Botox.
I do Botox.
What else do you do?
I do dermal filler, and also I just started offering medical weight loss.
Oh, nice.
What made you decide to try the medical weight loss? I mean, obviously because it's a health issue and that you're helping people, but I meant, so
what all does that entail, I guess?
So why I decided to offer medical weight loss, while I was working with my previous employer, I used to have a lot of patients who came in who were struggling with obesity and overweight and a lot of medical conditions. And so I realized there was a huge demand and a great struggle for a lot of these patients because they have diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritic changes to their joints, heart disease, and they want to feel better, but they just don't know where to go. And there was one patient who told me that her doctor just started her on some medication and that was it. But she was not seeing any result for weight loss. And so I dug deeper into it and I was like, I think this is something that I can definitely help the community with because obesity is the number 4 leading cause of medical condition in this country.
Yeah, so the obesity leads to diabetes and a lot of those other things.
A lot other comorbidities, cancer, you name it. And so I went and I did some training, some courses, and try to understand more about obesity, how it affects, the overall person, and that it actually is a medical condition. It's not that a patient is just being lazy or they just don't want to get up and exercise, they just want to eat bad. There's actually underlying issues that is affecting one's, ability to lose the weight. So in terms of hormone, you name it.
Thyroid, I know that. I mean, I know that I've been on thyroid medicine for probably 15 years now, and as soon as I got put on it, I lost weight immediately.
Immediately, yes.
I admit, when I got diagnosed with a thyroid problem, the doctor was like, you should probably be about, 300 pounds because you have but I worked in this building and I was so stressed out I never ate.
Right.
Melissa, did you catch that? I was like, I worked here. I was in sales.
Yeah, I want your diet.
I was on a liquid diet of all
I don't want that.
alcohol.
Yeah. We're going in the wrong direction, guys.
Yes.
That was my diet. But anyway, so
we're glad you're better now after they did the thyroid thing. And
so I mean, it was just like I said, it was nothing that I didn't realize that that's what it was. And so, but yes, I dropped weight immediately. And I mean, I did a lot of the other things since then. Like I said, I quit drinking alcohol. I've done a lot of things to help my health because it was wearing on me. If you look at a picture of me from, 5, 6, 7 years ago, I look like a different person than what you see now.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, okay. So we still have one more segment with Allison. So that music means that we're going to break. That's what it means. She starts it at 30 seconds before. So,
Unless I'm not paying attention.
all right. Well, we're
Like
going
right
to break now. We're going to continue talking with Allison. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And welcome back. This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Rick Hall and his team are ready to give your lawn that just stepped out of the salon look. With this crazy weather, your lawn may not be looking its best. Like today, it's cold. Yesterday, it was cold. The day before, it was like 85. I think tomorrow it's in the 80s. So it's just crazy. But you need to ask about the new lawn painting service. And as always, Ground Up Property Service offers an irrigation membership program to make sure everything is running the way that it's supposed to. You can reach Ground Up Property Services at 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. All right, so we are in our last portion with Allison Conley with Strive Wellness. So so right now you have your own business and you are working at 33 Micro Spa in Longwood. Who are the patients that you're seeing?
I am seeing patients who want to look better. Those people who, clients who suffer from volume loss in their face or wrinkle, they come in for Botox and dermal filler. I'm also seeing.
What's a derma filler? Is that like when people do their lips and whatnot?
Yeah, dermal filler is a volume loss replacement. Is a hyaluronic acid that is used to replace volume loss in the lips or around the nasolabial folds. It's also used to help augmentate the face as well. If you want to give your cheek a little elevation and give you a more defined jawline, dermal filler is great for that.
Well, what I notice is like when I see pictures of me when I'm younger, like my lips look fuller. Like this, it's almost like this area right around here. It starts to like almost deflate, if that makes sense.
Right. So as you age, you start losing volume, and that's just a natural part of the aging process.
Is that collagen?
Collagen, hyaluronic acid, because your body naturally produces hyaluronic acid. So your body don't produce as much as you get older. So that's why we're able to use this bioidentical, if you will, agent to help replace that.
Right. Okay. So she does all the injectables, and I'm very happy with like the way that my.
How long did that take?
I was only there for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do just one thing? Because I know at 33 Micro Spa they have so many things there that I'm like, let me hit this.
Right. I just went and saw her. I had my appointment was with her, and I was kind of very specific about what I wanted, and she was like, okay, I get that. But I mean, she did mention like crow's feet and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't do anything about anything until it bothers me. Because if it doesn't bother me, I'm like, I don't care.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if they ever start to bother me, I look at myself and I'm like, that bothers me. Then I'll be like,
to go.
Okay. My forehead bothered me because it just, like I said, it aged me so bad, and I just didn't like the way it looked. So you said women. I mean, your target demo is obviously women our age, right?
Working women, busy professionals, moms, and men, because I do also see men. I give men Botox, dermal filler as well.
Yeah.
So really busy professionals, those who don't have the time to, sit and, painstakingly put all these different agents on their face at night.
Are there more, like, has there been, more males that come in? Like, have you noticed any sort of...
No,
I wouldn't even guess. I wouldn't guess that. I don't know.
Yeah, there's not a lot of men that come in, but I do have male clients. It's mostly women who are concerned as they age. As we get older, women in their 30s, their 40s, and onwards, they want to look better. They want to feel. They feel good, but they don't look good in their eyes. So they come in to help to enhance their natural beauty.
Yeah, to match the inside.
To match the inside.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So did it hurt at all? I've never had Botox, so
there's a pinch.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small, fine needle that is used, and it's almost like a mosquito bite, if you will. And I do also have a nerve distractor that I give my clients to use. I don't believe I gave it to you.
No,
'cause
it's
you're
all right.
good.
I told her, I was like, I can handle pain, but I do flinch. And she's
Yeah.
like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. But that's just my natural, it's like a natural
Natural
for me
reaction,
Right.
to
yeah.
flinch.
What's the
So it's just a handheld device that vibrates that you put it on your face, anywhere in the face, and it helps to distract you from
Okay.
focusing on the injection.
I
that
wonder
you
if
get.
that would help my daughters when they have to get shots.
You might.
It might.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
know.
Side
So
note.
this is what I have to say about my experience going to see Allison, and that I will be going back, is because I've been to other med spas, and I've walked in and I felt so out of place because they're kind of, oh, how do I say it? They're just kind of uppity. You know what I mean? I was like, I felt like I didn't belong.
Mhm.
And I felt like I was, it didn't belong. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's like women will come out and their face is stiff, their lips are blown up like they got a couple of, Vienna sausages on there. And and I was just like, wow, okay, I don't want to. And then I get stuck waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's like an hour and a half process. And I was really uncomfortable for that whole time. And so with Allison, I didn't get that at all. We had an appointment time. I went there. She was the one who greeted me. We went back. I was in and out in 20 minutes. And
Nice.
so it's a completely different experience going to see Allison than and it was much more private,
Mhm.
and I don't know. That's really what was a big selling point for me is, I mean, not only are you in a good location, working, with somebody like Aaron, but like I said, it's very one-on-one.
And that's one of my main goal and focus for the business. I really want to create that personal experience. I don't want you to feel like you're going in and out of Walmart or any of the other
That's what I
stores.
felt. It's
right.
kind of like the
Right.
turn and
I
burn
want to
and-
create that connection so that you feel heard, and your concerns are addressed
Mhm.
in an appropriate manner.
Yeah.
So that's one of my biggest thing, and that's why it takes so long sometimes with my client. Just give them enough time to explain, and so we can create a treatment plan for whatever concerns.
Yeah,
they
and you
have.
didn't say, you said, okay, you mentioned my crow's feet, but when I was like, oh, they don't bother me, you let it go. You
Instead of like pushing it.
she
and,
didn't make me feel like if I didn't get them done,
Girl,
that-
don't walk out of here without getting those crow's feet. Not
Well,
like one
I
of
mean,
those
seriously,
things.
they
Yeah.
can make you feel like, well, if you want to look your best, then
Yeah.
and I was just like, then like I said, I'm like, well, first of all, you probably just think I'm being cheap, but I try to keep
Right.
like the changes in my face to as
Minimum.
natural looking
Right,
as
right.
possible.
You don't want to be overdone.
Right.
So
Right.
with this new working with 33, is that because you mentioned before with the community health that it didn't really fulfill you? Like now what you're doing, like how does this make you feel? Like, different?
Absolutely. This is more fulfilling for
That's
me
so
because
wonderful.
I am seeing results, and my clients, they are happy and they come back.
Uh-huh.
And that's what I'm wanting. That's what I want to see, results.
Right.
I want to see when I'm done, whatever treatment that I give or do, that the client is happy with the experience that they had, and they're also, the results is
So you've got your
Beautiful.
groove, you've got your place,
Right.
you're feeling good. So now it's like, let's get that volume in there, right?
that's what we need. We
Yep.
need the volume.
Mm-hmm. So that's what she was saying to me because I told her about the show,
Mhm.
and I was like, I'd love to have you on. And she's like, oh, I don't know, but then she's like, you know what, I need to do this.
Yes,
nice.
And it's like she was like, I need to put myself out there, and so I mean that's what we do. That's my number one goal is to get people to know you, like you, trust you, and then come see you. So now you're a friend of BaaD Radio, and you
Yes.
definitely have my business. And so where do you kind of see yourself over the next? I mean, you want to stay there, and you want to grow the clientele. Is there any other thing that you want to branch out to?
Oh, definitely. I definitely want the clientele to, grow, and also looking at adding vaginal rejuvenation
Very nice.
and female sex
Mhm.
enhancement, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to help, especially women in that department, because as you age, all of that change as well. And we focus so much on the men
Yeah.
and not so
Oh,
much
yeah.
on women. So
Oh,
I am
don't
looking.
even get me started on how unfair that whole thing is, because it's just so unfair. So tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
So I am located at 1885 West State Road, 434 Longwood, 325-32750. Phone number is 407-602-4040.
And your website?
My website is strivemedicalweightloss.com.
I'll double check all that too
Yeah.
for the video.
And how about for you?
Melissa, I am at strikingbrand.com.
All right. And actually, we still have another whole hour, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm Angela at BaaDradio.com. So stay tuned. We're going to take a break now. And when we get back, we are going to have basically kind of a whole new show.
Whole new show.
So, Allison, thank you so much for being part of the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Angela. Thank you.
You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Come on, shop.
Break for 30 seconds.
Come on, shop.
You're now listening to BaaD Radio.
And welcome back as we launch into our second hour of BaaD Radio. I'm going to run through all of our introductions for those of you who had just joined us. I am Angela Smarito, and I am your host. And we have got our... That's a sad clap. What is that?
My interns need food. Come on, you guys, do better.
Some extras.
I was like, wait a second.
There we go.
We have our producer, Melissa Fox, who's
Hi.
being funny over there.
It's what I do.
And our co-pilot and videographer, Melissa Jacob.
Hello for part 2.
At part 2. And Melissa's business is Striking Brand. She does all of our videos. So if you go to BaaDradio.com, under episodes, you can watch all the previous episodes. So Melissa is a photographer and a videographer. So you can check out all of her work at strikingbrand.com.
Thank you, ma'am.
And then this hour, Brian, we have a new business owner to BaaD Radio. And this is another gentleman that I just met. So both of our guests today are people that I literally have met last week and this week. So
Okay.
please welcome Don Menzel.
How you doing?
Now, Don has a very impressive resume of everything that he's doing right now. But I put him on the banner as the owner of a successful roofing company
Okay.
called Menzel Roofing Services.
Thank you for
Right.
Which
having me here.
There, you got to speak up. You got to get closer.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you
Alright.
go.
Which I've heard of that before. Are you in BNI or?
No, so I've just learned through the years how to market. I
Okay.
had to teach myself because I couldn't afford to pay anybody to do it.
Oh, okay. Probably from Facebook posts. People
Probably.
like putting your name out there.
I'm sure you.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is good.
I'm sure people have probably chased you about being in BNI, though, right?
No, in the past they
Yeah.
have, but no, just being a part of the chamber and everything,
Which chamber are you part
the regional, Seminole County Regional Chamber.
of? Okay,
Is that-
nice.
yeah, that's the one that you're in.
No, I'm in the Oviedo Winter Springs
Okay.
chamber. Yeah.
I've
Mhm.
considered moving over to that one because that's more localized for
Okay.
where I'm located.
Yeah. That's a really good group of people too. The president, Roxanne Ferguson,
Oh yeah,
is amazing.
I love them. Can't you be members of both?
Yeah,
yes.
Okay. So, because like I know with BNI, well, I meant with like BNI, they really want you to kind of stick. They don't really want you to be in any
yeah. Right.
networking groups per se, but I don't think they really care about chambers and stuff.
No, not at all. Not at all.
'Cause-
No, I think really it's where do you want to spend your time?
Yes, that's the
because
biggest
you're
thing.
investing in this
oh yeah, time is
product,
money.
Service.
Mhm.
So for me, I'm only one person as the owner and trying to allocate my time, to the best that I think, for my company. Being split between two different chambers
Right.
Yeah.
is not that great of
I
allocating
know.
funds.
Even with BNI and the chamber, I'm like,
Yeah. I
It's a
don't. I mean, I
lot.
wouldn't be able to go to all of
it's a
them.
lot. You just got to pick and choose because it's really good networking either way for both
Mhm.
groups, really too.
The one thing I found out about chambers though is that I see a lot of repetitiveness and I do like them
Mhm.
because like I said it's a bigger group, it's a more mass, but you really have to how do they say it? With BNI, people are held accountable for
Right.
passing you a referral,
Right.
and they're
Accountability.
given a grade on it basically,
Right.
And that for me really works is that
Right.
accountability and that because I'm not going to say it wasn't Oviedo or Seminole, but I remember being a guest at a chamber and I had the same people coming up to me and it was just passing business cards and then
Kind of like
and
an echo chamber.
yeah, and then they wanted to have coffee, and sell me.
Right.
And I just, you know what I mean? I was like, that's not going to work.
I think it's like BNI though. Like you just got to kind of find, you have people in every group where you're going to have some people who are kind of just there to just be there. And then some people who are there, like the Master Roberts, Dominica, they're in the chamber. That's how I met them.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
they're fantastic.
Yeah.
She's like a firecracker.
100%.
So speaking of like groups and stuff, how Dawn and I met is I recently done a thing where I went through Facebook and I was just looking for different business groups. And, and I applied to be in those different business groups so that I can post about my business, to post about my sponsor's business. And there was a group that actually I think I'm in. How many? So I was in one of his groups. I don't remember which one it was though. So how many groups do you currently have?
I am admin by myself on 3 different groups, and then admin with a couple other admins in one group.
And you told me the story when we did our 1-to-1 about how you put those together and how long you've had them. Can you kind of give us that same rundown?
So originally when I moved here to Florida roughly 12 years ago, we brought, my wife and I own a tax and accounting firm. And so we moved here, started the accounting firm, moved here, brought one client with us. And I had went to work for a major roofing company at that point as a superintendent. So I was wearing a hat as superintendent for this company I was working for, and then helping my wife build our accounting firm. So this was roughly 10 years ago. I started to teach myself how to market, and social media was just starting to be a new boom thing. And one of the things that stood out to me back then was groups. Groups started to become formed and everything. And so I formed a Longwood group, a Lake Mary group, supporting businesses in Seminole County group, and then was asked to be admin on a Castleberry group. And so for me, in networking and becoming a part of the chamber, I thought, okay, I'll create these groups and just kind of play with it and see how they go. Well, now we're roughly, 8-10 years down the road.
I think you said 2014 was the one that I was in, that
right.
I reached out to you from that.
I think with all 4 different groups I have, and mind you, there's obviously going to be some people that are in each group and whatnot, but, an outreach of roughly probably upward of 20,000 people in the Seminole County area.
So the one that I'm in has like 4.9 businesses in it. And I see when I post in there, I see some other people that are, where they cross. So, but what I try not to do is do one post and then just share it into each other group. I try to do an individual post per group, and lots of times I'm not even posting for myself. He's like, that's too much work, girl.
Wow, that's a lot of time. I mean, especially if you're really trying to target it, a broad area like, Central Florida.
Yeah.
There are so many groups that you could go in and advertise in, just to post a meme or whatever you want to post, and to specialize that per group. That would take a long time.
Well, with the groups I'm in, I do that because I know for myself, when I see one person do that where I'm in, it's like, okay, I've seen it once, but what if this is a second opportunity or a third opportunity to get their attention, where it might be the same graphic, but the message is a little bit different, or something like that.
Makes sense.
So I might hit on something different that triggers something. So,
right.
And then, like I said, I kind of look at it as like serving my respect to each one of those groups, because what this show is all about is a group that I put together. Now, I didn't catch on to that as quickly as you did so many years ago. It took me till COVID time.
That's fine.
But that's how Business at a Distance even got developed. Is I was driving home when we all got sent home for COVID, and I'm like, how are we still going to pass referrals? And so I created Business at a Distance. It organically became BaaD, because that's what the members inside started calling it, and I thought it was cute. And we had an anniversary party, and people were calling it the BaaDiversary, and I was just like,
that is cute.
Yeah, actually, Dr. Jessica Mitchell is the one who started calling it that. So that happened, and so creating this radio show was like the brainchild of how that group. So. And that way I can bring the businesses, and so at first I was pulling businesses strictly from Business at a Distance, but now, like I said, it branched out. So it's businesses that are local. I mean, like I said, it's local businesses and business networking. So, but it sounds like you're are very pivotal in the whole networking world with being the admins on these groups.
Yeah, I mean, the whole purpose of the supporting businesses of Seminole County was just that, back when we first moved here and I started to get involved in chambers and nonprofits and everything, we come from the mantra of, if you're blessed, you give back to the community, you give back in some way, shape, or form. And so in building these groups and my participation in the community, was really an opportunity for like-minded business people that wanted to have a centralized kind of outreach, into other businesses that do business to business or chambers and stuff like that. I just thought it was another way that people could do that as business owners.
Yeah, well, that music means that we're going to a break. But when we get back, what I want to do is talk about your resume. And I'm not talking about your CV. I'm talking about, like, everything that you have posted when you look up Dawn on Facebook.
You're listening to BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Rachel Roach Realty, a Coldwell Banker Realtor. With a sea of realtors out there, choose the one that thinks about you first and not their commission. You can reach Rachel at 407-252-4566. All right, so we are talking with Dawn, and Dawn is the owner of Menzel Roofing Services. It's Menzel.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. What is that? What's the nationality of that?
That's German.
Is it German? I was wondering. My maiden name's Kuda, and that's Czechoslovakian. So.
Okay. I was wondering.
You're Cullen.
Cullen, yeah.
That's English.
Yeah, it's like English, Scott, or something, somewhere over there.
I can't help anything but think of Twilight.
Yeah.
So. Sorry, girl.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, you know what? That was my guilty pleasure when the books were out. So Other ladies were reading like 50 Shades, and I was reading Harry Potter and the Hunger Games. And
Same, though. Same.
So, all right. So we talked about your resume. And I said earlier, is that I was impressed by your resume. So tell us some of the things that you're involved with right now. So we already mentioned that you own a roofing company.
So as of right now, there's really no extracurricular activity that I've had like in the past. I mean, part of nonprofits and politics. Right now, it's focusing on company growth, and I'm a board member for the Central Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association.
Right. So this is something that is very interesting to me. And as we started to do like our one-to-one, he lit up. Like, you know what I mean? Like he literally got so animated because we started talking about the things that are happening up in Tallahassee right now that and Melissa knows about it, and the other Melissa knows about it because we've done a whole show about it. So he's in the roofing, he's in the traits.
Right.
And so Senate Bill 2A is something that is hitting his industry. And when he found out that this is something that I'm like working on, he was like, why didn't you tell me about this? Or why didn't he was like, why don't you have anything on social media saying you're an advocate for this? So I
couldn't find nothing. I was surprised.
I posted about it yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah. I mean, the main part was because I didn't have all the information yet. And I want to make sure that I'm fully informed on what's happening before I start posting. You know what I mean?
Right.
So many people post about some stuff that they don't know jack about.
Right.
So, the what is it? The sheet metal or the association?
The Central Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association.
Okay. Tell us about that. I know it doesn't sound really interesting to us, but actually, I'm very interested.
Well, I can say that being in the industry since I was 18, for me,
in roofing,
in the roofing industry. Okay. Now, within that, I had put myself into college. And going through the trade, you always assumed or you always thought that, other roofers with other companies were like your competitor, and it was like some big fight, and that's just not the case. So in the industry and being a part of the Roofing and Sheet Metal Association, I've got to know other owners, other general managers, and we support each other. Here in Florida and having to be a licensed contractor, it's very important that I'm, competing against people that are apples to apples. Now, if you have, storm chasers come down that, have somebody basically co-sign for their permits and everything. They buy a license.
You can buy a license for like $65.
Well, no, you have to have somebody qualify your company.
Because we had a tree company come out.
Completely different.
Is it different?
Yeah. So the roofing license, at least when I got mine, not including tools, nothing like that, was just around a $20,000 investment.
Oh, yeah, that's a little bit different.
That's a chunk of change.
It is, and so that's partly the reason why I've been down here around 12 years, that I didn't get it until about 5 years ago. Now, we had a successful accounting firm, in operation, and we knew we weren't going to grow that. So that's when I decided, well, my trade, my background is, roofing. I might as well go ahead and put my eggs in that basket. Roofers always have a bad reputation. It's always the roofer's fault.
See, I don't, because her and I are in BNI, I don't feel that way. Do
Yeah,
you?
because we have a roofer in our BNI, and they're like some of the most stand-up people. Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because the echo chambers that I hear is, you gotta, it's
That's
always the roofer.
Those storm chaser type people,
Correct.
though.
Especially here in Florida after the hurricanes in 04, 05.
I call them blue tarp chasers. Is what I call them.
So those are the true competitors that I don't want to, want to go up against, because they're not operating 9 times out of 10, like the rest of us in the Central Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association. So I don't mind competitors, and I'll even recommend people to look, if you're looking for more than one estimate, go to the Central Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association, pick out one of those guys, have them come out and give you an estimate, because at least then I know that they're bound by, in being a part of the organization, we check and make sure that, you have your general liability, your workman's comp, that you're operating, on the up and
like
up.
you said, apples to apples.
Correct.
So that's a good place to check. Like if you're trying to find a good roofer that's not going to, a nice way to say this.
Rip you off.
Yes, rip you off.
Well, my big thing is that the worst part is if AOBs are a thing of the past now, but in the past, they'd be there, they'd get somebody to sign, an unexpected homeowner to sign an AOB, which gives them the rights to everything. They pay, they get the money from the insurance company, and then they haul at.
Right.
You know what I mean?
If
You
they're
have a couple of bad actors, in any industry that's the case. And so,
but that association essentially is like a thorough background check, so you don't even have to.
we hold each other self-accountable,
Right.
In Central Florida at least. So we do a vetting process in order to become a member, to make sure that you have the basic things that DBPR, expects licensed roofing contractors to have here.
So the storm chaser type people aren't going to be on that list. Or
Not
could they
on the
find a way?
Central Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association. Not our organization.
Not our organization.
Right. So
Correct.
you say you stress Central Florida. Are there
Correct.
different associations for different regions?
Well, I don't know about for different regions. I don't pay attention to different regions, but I know that there is a state organization that, there's a state roofing and sheet metal association. I'm not a part of that. And I know that there are a few of our members that are a part of that, push getting people involved in that. Now at the state level, they're the ones that will lobby on, our behalf, because we're an affiliate to them. And so I can tell you that me personally, I've not seen eye to eye in some of the organization, the state organization, and what they,
Are
bought
lobbying for
into.
against-
Right.
See,
Correct.
this is what I've heard.
Will agree to. And so that's why for at least Central Florida, residents, I would say, hey, come to our association. If you're not calling Menzel Roofing Services, at least go there.
Right. No, that makes total sense. And how many members, and how does somebody become a member?
Becoming a member would be to reach out to one of the board members or go to the website, and either me or one of the other board members would reach out to that company. We'll invite them to a public meeting, at no cost to them, come check it out to see if they see value in it. And then if they so choose that they're like, yeah, I want to get involved, I can believe in this, then they would get an application and go through the process.
Okay. w- what would somebody see as value? Leads?
No, this is industry wise as far as if you're a member of the Central Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association, it would be leads in the sense that, you're looking to network. So I'm a single business owner and I get access to other roofing company owners and general managers in the sense that there's everybody has different business models and different things they do. You have manufacturers that will come in. You'll have attorneys, like I was explaining to you before. 2 years ago, we had a OSHA attorney come in, and that was like one of the best informative meetings me as an owner and my general manager got to participate in.
I want to continue this conversation because I think this is a very, very valuable information. So we're going to hop back in on this after the break, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And welcome back. This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most valuable investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. Do you know would you work with a lot of house inspectors too? Or I get a little confused on like the networking circle for roofing companies.
So home inspectors are under a different license.
Gotcha.
And so I get asked a lot, hey, we just got a new roof on, do you guys do
wind mitigation?
Wind mitigation.
Mm-hmm.
I want to introduce you to Mike Heyman with Liberty Property Instructions because you guys could be referral partners. He's a great guy.
And that's kind of typically how it works in the industry because I don't hold that license. I'll tell my customers, hey, look, we don't hold that license. We can find you somebody or, it's in your best interest to do your research and see.
But do you have like a consistent like inspector that you might like link up with?
No.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
typically
Mike.
inspectors, from my experience, I've had some reach out to me and I've tried to do, kind of a referral partnership deal. But 9 times out of 10, what I've discovered, at least for me, is that, hey, come take a look at this roof. They're not sure if they're going to sell before or if they're going to make it a part of. And then we go in and put in all the legwork and then I don't hear nothing.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
Yeah, I know that's not Mike, but because like Liberty Property Inspections, we use them for our mitigation. And then he also did something because we got a new roof. It's going on 8 years now. And we started having some leaking for our roof. And again, the roofing company had changed hands a few times, and they said if it's leaking here, it's not our problem. We didn't do it. They called it sheaf, or I don't even know. Around what's that? That's around your chimney.
You're flashing
And or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so Mike came over and he climbed up in the attic, and it just happened to be raining that day. And he actually took a video of where the water was coming through, and he wrote a strongly worded letter in the video, and he sent it to my roofing company, and they were out literally the next day and had it all fixed. And I mean, that's service, right?
No, absolutely.
Because he also did our wind mitigation, which helped us save money on our homeowners insurance. So, all right. So we were talking about, I wanted to get back to the being a member of this association. So you said that they would have to fill out an application, and I can't remember. Did I ask you how many members are there?
Right now, I think we're around 30 members.
Okay. And I mean, is that something that you're looking to grow, or do you just sort of like, I mean, when you have monthly meetings, you said?
Not every month, so typically during the summer when summer break happens, we'll take I think it's July off. But we'll typically try to set up, like a picnic around summertime. So there's specific months that we'll stay away from to not hold a meeting. But for the most part, we typically have a meeting a month, a public meeting a month.
And that's very beneficial. And that's when you can invite other roofers so sheet metal, what all does that cover?
Metal roofing.
Okay. So it's still roofing.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah.
Can I ask you some stuff about like you said your background was in roofing since you were 18?
Correct.
Did you work with like a family member who was a roofer, or like how did you even get into that? Because roofing seems like one of those jobs that not that many people are like, I can't wait to get on top of this roof. Like,
Yeah, like so when I grow up, I want to be a roofer.
yeah, I don't think many like elementary school kids like have the drawing of a roof and them like with a hammer. Like, I don't think that's.
So a little bit of a backstory. I was a teenager that didn't listen to the parents.
What teenagers
Right.
always
So
listen?
it wasn't like So for me at 18, I'm being independent because basically, I was not living at home. I was already out trying to make money and live my life and be an adult. And so
Because you knew everything.
Right, of course. Who at 18 doesn't know everything?
My daughter knows everything.
Yeah, but she really does though.
I don't know. Maybe it's the times because I have an 11-year-old that believes that. But with that being said, I wanted to make good money, and I lived in the Kansas City area, north of
I'm sorry,
Kansas.
did you say Kansas City?
Kansas
Okay.
City area. And I lived north of that and, had a beat up vehicle. So I really didn't have many options. It's not like I could drive into Kansas City and try to find, some type of great job. I had limited opportunities. And at the time, starting out as a laborer in the main roofing company there where I grew up, was decent money. And so I was like, well, I need a job. Why not? I knew a guy that had worked there, and he said, hey, if you come in, we can get you started tomorrow. And so I started in commercial roofing, doing hot tar, tearing off, commercial buildings, thousands and thousands of squares, and 4-ply pitch and tar and gravel back on.
How's that compared to like doing a residential? Like, is it
That sounds grueling.
suckier? Like, is it another way to say that? You know what I mean?
The labor intensive part of removing a roof, I would say, is equally difficult.
Okay.
As you get older, you want to be more on flat surfaces versus pitch surface.
Yeah. I don't like
So
being on roofs.
at that age, it didn't matter.
Okay.
It was still pretty intensive work.
Just when you say tar, I'm just like automatically like, oh, this is sounding worse.
I know. I know that when I bought a townhouse in Winter Park, it was a 2-story townhouse, and the person who was inspecting the house had made me get up on the roof with him to like go over stuff, and I was petrified, especially because it's 2 stories high.
I don't think they're supposed to make you get on the roof.
Absolutely not.
That sounds like that's an insurance issue. Like so many
absolutely not.
problems.
What year? This was 1996 or something.
Can you take 96? I was going to say, can you take a picture? No.
I literally was like laying flat and just like, I'm like, I can't do this. And he goes, but I need you to see this. And I was
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
don't think
Draw
the
me a
quality
picture.
of Polaroid cameras
Yeah.
back then was even that great. So.
Oh, he wouldn't have worked. Draw me a picture. I'm not getting up there.
and he was just all walking up there, up and down, like towards the edge. And I was like, if you fall, this is high enough now that you're going to die.
Have you
absolutely.
ever fallen off?
One time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I
What
fell off.
happened?
It was 2 stories onto a driveway. What happened was I was
He looks like he's embarrassed.
well, I was managing the crew at the time. I was the foreman, and it was a residential property. I had a newer guy that was, trying to hide from work. He was
fun.
cleaning a gutter, and
Yeah.
we just had this back end of this house tore off. And I basically went storming down to, give him a piece of my mind on how it sucks that he's playing around in the gutter when everybody else is tearing off the front of the building, right? And so as I was storming down to the edge of the roof, I hit a piece of loose felt. And the next thing I know, I'm looking up and I'm like, what am I doing down here?
Did you break anything?
No, I didn't. Yeah, I was still young enough that I
bendy
hit
bones.
and I was in shock, but I didn't break anything.
I bet it knocked the wind out of you, though.
Yeah, I mean, when I hit, I came to, and I don't know how brief it was. All I know is I was looking up, and the guy that I was about to chew his rear end was looking down at me in complete shock.
Yeah.
Did you yell at him from like?
Absolutely. My ego wouldn't let that die.
Right.
So.
Have you ever had the wind knocked out of
Yes,
you? Like,
it's
I fell out of
terrible.
a tree and I hit the ground, and I it just leaves you
Yeah.
and you can't suck it back
Can't
in.
breathe. I remember that happened to me in elementary school. I was terrified. I went to the teachers freaking out. So I didn't fall from a 2-story building, but I was doing some dumb flips or something.
I fell out of a tree. So with all of the different roofing companies out there, really what do you do to kind of set yourself apart?
So I'll lead back into what I was describing before. My perception of roofing companies and roofers. I wanted to make sure that when I started my company, that it was going to be based on integrity. It was going to be based on being trustworthy. Hence why I named it, with my last name. I wanted people to get the sense that they weren't dealing with some corporate entity or some fly-by-night company.
Oh, you got me again, girl. You
Got me that time, too.
Wow, my head.
Wow. Let's take a break. Fix your head.
All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
And thank you for staying with us. This portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by a group of our sponsors. So a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Fear no storm with boltslegal.com. And I've been seeing the stuff that Brooke Bolts has been putting out, and it's just phenomenal. That girl is a fighter, and I look up to her like you would not believe. Well, when a lot of these attorneys are rolling over and saying, oh, there's nothing that we can do, she's like, watch me.
Yeah, from personal experience, she's helped me with a car accident and a roofing issue. So both times she's all over it.
Well, when we were talking about Senate Bill 2A, there's also House Bill 837, and she's standing up to both of them.
And she has to.
And
it's her business.
Yeah, I know, but so many of them aren't.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked on how many, mostly attorneys, I've talked to, and they're just like, oh, it's already done. It's in the bank. There's nothing we can do. I talked to him, and he had me excited because he was like, yeah, we want to do something. Yeah, we want to stand up. So I'm like, I'm going to hang with the blue collars,
the people who want to do something.
I'm going to be like, I'm going to hang out with the women attorneys and the people that work in the trades, because they have backbones. And I am saying that out loud because a lot of these people don't have backbones.
I can tell you that in the industry, I was talking to a guy about it the other day, right after you and I had talked. I called him up and I was telling him about you and how we were talking about the new proposals that are out there. And he told me that he set up his business, that he does DBA, in order to protect himself from the insurance companies and the attorneys, so that way he doesn't become personally on their radar, and just the company, the entity that he uses, that he puts forth out to the community, that's all they can find.
Right.
And he does that on purpose because he has seen roofing contractors that have spoke out in the past about certain issues, and people go after them.
Like they get blackballed or something?
Not that they get blackballed, but they get turned into OSHA, or they get turned into the DBPR, just some low, hanging fruit kind of activity that you would do to a company in order to make it difficult for them.
Right.
And cost them money.
I got derailed a little bit, but I still need to mention a few more sponsors. I just realized. So special thanks to 33 Tanning Spa with locations in Altamont Springs and Longwood, and we talked about them a lot today. And Andrews Law, PA, auto accident attorney. Contact Andrews Law today, and you can reach out. Well, to go to andrewslawpa.com, and then Crazy Muscle Nutrition in Longwood. Okay, sorry about that. Now we're back. Like I said,
I got sure you're paying the bills.
Yeah, definitely. I got distracted because it's something that I feel very passionate about.
And they're all great sponsors too, so we got.
I love our sponsors.
Yeah.
But this is what the point that I was kind of making. I don't know if I said this to you, but I was like, I talked to a lot of these attorneys that are like, use me, an auto accident, use me for your claims because we're gonna fight for you, and they won't even fight for themselves. I was like, how can you sit there and say, we're going to fight for you, we're going to get all of your rights and everything like that. But yet when you're faced with adversary and you're faced with government and big corporations with all this money, you're just going to be like, oh, well, sorry. I'm just going to change my field of law.
Like how strongly could they fight for you if they're not even fighting for their own business, with the same amount?
A lot of me thinks because they're cheap and they think that they know everything, and that they honestly believe that there's nothing that can be done. I believe in reform. I do. I believe that things can be changed.
In today's day and age, you got to be, have a belief in reform, because we have so many different laws on the books that, so I was talking about before the break, integrity in my company. That's what kind of led me towards Central Florida Roofing and Sheet Metal Association, is because I wanted to make sure that, we exuded, integrity, that, we could be a company that, you could trust. Hence why I got involved with the Better Bureau of Business, got an A+ rating with them still, 5 years in the business. And kind of segueing into all that, when I I was managing the accounting firm that my wife and I had owned, I got involved in the community with nonprofits, and I got involved with politics and everything. And that was because I saw how my experience has been that most people don't get involved in politics, or they don't stand up and they don't say nothing until it absolutely affects them. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that that's, the way it is, or that's a law. And so I saw the injustices in networking in Seminole County. I saw things that, they kind of didn't bode well with me, with like integrity. I'm like, look, so you're an elected official, but you're, doing nonprofit work for this nonprofit, and you're having money allocated to this nonprofit, and it just
I totally get it.
Some really stuff that
you can call it just shady.
It doesn't look well, And if you're looking to show that you have integrity and that you could be trusted in the community, I wouldn't associate myself with that kind of activity, just because of the way it looks.
No, I totally agree with that. And right now what I'm seeing is completely changing the way that I feel about, just our governor. And I'll say that part because I think that what's happening right now, and the majority of stuff that DeSantis has done for the state of Florida, he's amazing.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to this stuff right here, House Bill 837 and Senate Bill 2A, I'm thoroughly disgusted. I'm thoroughly disgusted because the biggest contributors to his political
the insurance
is the insurance companies, is big insurance. And it's under the vise that it's protecting small businesses from predatory companies. You want to know who the predators are? It's those big insurance companies. They're the ones that are screaming, oh, help us. We can't make ends meet because there's so many lawsuits against us. Well, guess what? The majority of them are just, if they go out of business, if they file bankruptcy, all that's happening is that they're selling the majority of those claims to a bigger business, and they get absorbed, and then they're still doing business in the state of Florida. It's all, like I said.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You can tell I get very passionate about it.
Yeah, she's heated.
Look, I do too. Hence why I got involved in politics, about 8 years ago. What I see is that with DeSantis working within that bill and signing last year's bill, the 2A bill, I believe, and I've talked to a couple other people in the industry as owners and general managers, I believe that it's really going to start affecting our citizens here in probably 2 or 3 years. Some people are seeing an adverse effect right now, but I think that that's going to continue to multiply.
Yeah, Floridians are in the dark.
They are. They don't know what has happened and what's taken place. They're not going to see it until I think that it's really going to start ramping up as year by year goes on until people are like, wait a minute, I can't believe that this is the case. How did this come to be?
Well, in regards to Senate Bill 2A, the biggest thing that will affect what's being brought to their attention is if we have another storm.
Right.
If we have another storm like Ian,
and when everything's already passed and stuff, if it does pass, then that's when they're going to start knowing about it.
The Senate bill's already passed.
Yeah.
And so, when it comes to, hurricanes and, severe damage, if you have any bill that's written beginning on December 16th of 2022, you are SOL.
Well, and I'll speak to for me, and being in the industry, most people don't realize that they have storm damage until 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years later.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I got a leak. And then with the
law,
it is the way it is, that
what is it now? A year or 6 months?
Yeah, no, I think it's like a year. And so, you look at a year from now when people from the hurricane that we had last year, when they start seeing interior damage, they're going to go to the roof and have a roofer come out and assess, and we're going to say, hey, look, you have storm damage. We can't pinpoint when, so then it's up to the insurance company, to do the right thing, which is why they're lobbying to not have to do the right thing.
Oh, it's so sad. I can't believe it, but like I said, we are literally like less than a minute left. So, Dawn, I definitely want to have you on the show again because I like I said, this is the kind of conversation that gets my blood going. But tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
MenzelRoofing.com. It's pretty easy. We have a great support staff now, a bunch of sales guys that are interested in getting out and taking a look and see how we can help you.
Okay, awesome.
All right, and I am Melissa Jacob. I have Striking Brand. It's strikingbrand.com and Striking Brand on all social media platforms.
And I am Angela, and you can find all the information on BaaD Radio at baadradio.com, and you can reach me at angela@baadradio.com. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful week.